Championship Sunday on a beautiful day in Kohler, Wisconsin at Black Wolf Run for the final round of the United States Women's Open, where 24-year-old Na Yun Choi is trying to become the 6th South Korean to win this prestigious title and the 5th in the last 7 years. After a brilliant 65, took a 6-shot lead, and after a bogey to start, a birdie at the 4th to get back to 8 under, back to a 6-shot lead in the final round of the U.S. Women's Open. NBC Sports and the United States Golf Association are proud to present a national championship. Today it's live final round coverage of the 67th United States Women's Open. And a day after Black Wolf Run roughed up most everyone in the field, producing the highest third-round scoring average in a Women's Open since the first championship held here 14 years ago, Pete Dye's design in the rolling hills of Wisconsin is ready to crown another champion. A champion who not only survives one of the toughest layouts anywhere, but also the pressure of winning the most coveted title in the women's game. So for the moment, Na Yun Choi hanging in there. We've got 2 South Koreans at the top of the leaderboard, but it's a 6-shot lead for Na Yun Choi over Amy Yang. The only other player under par, Germany's Sandra Gall, 7 shots off the lead. Paula Creamer, the 2010 champion, continues to try to chip away, but running out of holes. 17-year-old Lexi Thompson in the top 10 with Nicole Castrali and Christy Kerr, who won this title back in 2007. Se-Reed Pak, who started the floodgates here at Black Wolf Run 14 years ago of South Koreans to come over to the United States and play the LPGA Tour. And Na Yun Choi trying to become the latest South Korean to join the list. And there's a look at her front 9 card. Again, the bogey start at the 1st, but then the birdie we showed you at the 4th, and the 6-shot lead is intact. Roger Maltby with that final group with Amy Yang and Na Yun Choi at the 8th.
Thank you, Dan. Na Yun Choi's play through the opening 7 holes has been pretty impeccable. Has only missed 1 fairway, 1 green. Here, played a hybrid into this 179-yard par 3, hit it right at the center of the green, took a little slope to the left, and has a reasonable opportunity to make birdie. Here's putt should move to her left.
This hole playing nearly 40 yards longer than it did on day 2 and day 3, which make for a pretty simple 3.
Another par for Na Yun Choi over to 17. The aforementioned Se-Reed Pak, a Hall of Famer, +3, taking aim at the 182-yard par 3.
Yeah, very good.
Really taking so many of these South Korean youngsters under her wing. Her house is virtually an open project for all of them to come learn how to be a great champion. She'll cook for them, do anything they need.
Here's another South Korean, Amy Yang. Roger.
Her play has been very solid through the opening 7 holes as well. Has hit every fairway, 6 for 6, and has only missed 2 greens. So solid play out of this last twosome. This putt 2 should move to her left. A little different angle, more underneath the hole, so slightly uphill.
So a big day, a final group for 22-year-old Amy Yang, who's won on the Korean LPGA Tour, but still not on the LPGA Tour. She's just 22. Hanging in there nicely at even par for the round. 6 back over at 13, excuse me. 189-yard par 3. There's that hole location on the right side.
We do see the breeze coming in at the players. A little easier than it was early in the week when it was coming more off the water, but still this whole location demands a bunch of respect.
Michelle Wie off to a shaky start and continuing shaky play. She picked up 5 bogeys in the first 7 holes to balloon to +7, back at 8 Yang for par. Sooner or later, Dottie, you figure she's going to have to make some birdies.
She's going to have to make some birdies and have some help, Dan.
Everybody talking about the incredible round by Na Yun Choi yesterday, Dottie. A 65. It was 12 shots lower than the course average yesterday. So we're continuing to try to put this into perspective of just how good it was. So we took some examples of some of the best in the world. Suzann Pettersen, the 36-hole leader here, shot 78. Cristie Kerr and Michelle Wie, who were tied for second going into that round yesterday, also high into the 70s. And then Yanni Sen, Stacy Lewis, the top two players in the world as well, and Ai Miyazato and Amy Lang well into the 70s there. They're the last two winners on the LPGA Tour. It was some round for Choi yesterday.
It was, and I don't think we really had a real great perspective of just how good it was until she went on that little tear around 11 and 12. The only blip on the card was the 3-putt bogey at the 13th and came firing right back, got herself out of trouble so well at the 16th, and just finished the round off like a champion.
The question is, it's about pressure, and it's sometimes when you get that big lead, you get out of your game. You were talking about the importance yesterday of still playing, I guess, reasonably aggressive, because that's kind of what got her in this position.
Well, you do see people when they get a big lead, they sort of go into this real conservative mode with both hands on the wheel. And I think the important thing to remember is what got you there to begin with. She didn't get there playing layup sort of golf. She got there playing smart, aggressive golf. A wonderful combination, and I think she has to continue to do that to get this lead and get it finished today.
And like so many South Koreans, the woman who she watched on television back in South Korea, Se-Ri Pak, a long birdie try on the way. Really hard to put in perspective just how inspirational Se-Ri Pak has been to her homeland in golf, and that was golf for par.
That never looked like it really had a chance. A lot of movement in that stroke.
So a bogey for her, and it takes another red figure off the leaderboard. So just two players under par. They're both South Koreans in that final group. Just exactly where are we? Black Wolf Run. Well, we're just about an hour's drive north of Milwaukee, just outside Sheboygan. And there is the quaint village of Kohler, Wisconsin. Black Wolf Run, which of course hosted this first U.S. Women's Open back in 1998. It was tough then, and yesterday it was just about as tough as it was 14 years ago, especially on that Saturday. Paula Creamer at 10.
Well, she made up an awful lot of ground yesterday with her round of 1 under par. She passed enough people. She saved herself about 2.5, 3 hours worth of sleep.
Bogey for Paula, back to +2, and we go to 9.
Mika Miyazato will be playing her second shot into this par 4. And Dottie, surprisingly, this front left hole location, the hole's playing a lot easier than it's played through the first 3 rounds. I'm amazed, because you would think the water would be more in play.
Well, if you're smart enough to take the water out of play, there's not a whole lot going on past that hole location. But if you get a little too aggressive, maybe mishit a shot, as she waits for a little action behind the green to clear, you're going to pay the price.
Kay Cockrell is with this twosome.
Yeah, Mika started off very solidly today, just making good, solid pars, and then out of nowhere, she hit her second shot right at that treacherous par 4 fifth. Made a double bogey there, and that kind of set her back, obviously.
In 3 rounds, there have only been 22 birdies made here at the 9th, and already today, 16.
Good.
Big drive by Lexi Thompson.
It was. She has 143 yards left, and she's pulled out a 9-iron. Just a little teeny bit of breeze coming from that northeast direction that Dottie talked about. Just a light breeze. Really not much of a factor right now.
Tugged slightly. All right, it's going to hang on the left side. Leave it up to a cut from there. So not too bad at all. Over 13.
And the third for Michelle Wie after finding the water.
Such great hopes for the championship after that wonderful round she played on Friday, shooting 66. There was certainly a buzz around here yesterday morning with Michelle's name so close to the top of the leaderboard.
Tee at 9.
Amy Yang will be first to play.
And fairway bunkers down the left side. What, it's about 260 off the tee. Water right. Tough driving hole, this.
Yeah, it looks as though Amy Yang has selected less than driver, Raj.
Looks like 3 would. I would assume to keep short of those bunkers on the left-hand side. Next to no wind at all. Barely any air moving whatsoever. And this going at the inside edge of those bunkers. And that should be fine.
And next will be Choi. Raj, you've talked about her ball striking, how well she's driven the ball, how well she's hit her irons. For a little thing, she gets the ball out there a pretty good distance.
She does, and I think has very good technique in her swing. I've enjoyed watching her play to this point.
Yeah, beauty.
And this right in the left center of the fairway. This should be very, very good. That's got a little motor on it too.
And taking the natural slope of the land, a little left to right, so very well positioned. Na Yun Choi, 6-shot lead in the final round of the 67th playing of the U.S. Women's Open. We'll be back.
Now to the 9th.
And Mika Miyazato will be first to putt.
And Mika, neither one of these players actually have made a birdie yet today. Mika had a beautiful shot on the last hole, the par 3/8. Missed her birdie attempt there. Both players in this group have reasonable birdie chances. Not a whole lot of movement on this putt that Mika's looking at. It's just sort of a gentle glide down to the hole, downhill the whole way. Mika always wears orange, quite often and always on Sunday. The word Mikan in Japanese means tangerine, and she likes the tangerine or orange color. Brings her luck.
Obviously, she's putted these greens very well. A graphic that we just showed Kay that shows she has not had a 3-putt this week.
That is very impressive. Can't imagine too many players have gone around without a 3-putt.
This one a little bit down the hill.
Yes.
Should work ever so slightly to the right. Is it going to stay up? Almost. Over 13.
And this is a double bogey attempt for Michelle Wie. Who's just not had a good half year on the LPGA Tour. Thought it might come to an end with that 66 she fired on Friday, but has struggled since. Lexi Thompson has a birdie attempt.
Okay, this is a very reasonable putt here.
This is. I didn't see too much in this putt. Maybe just a little movement down to the right.
It's a pretty dramatic improvement from the first major of the season to now with Lexi's putting. Gary seems to be a lot more simple.
Well, she was saying that, you know, at the Kraft Nabisco event, the very first, she was making too many changes at one time. And now she's tried to focus on just maybe a setup change, which has created a much more free-flowing stroke.
Wide base there for a setup.
Yeah, baby.
Over at 14.
And a birdie attempt for 19-year-old Danielle Kang, U.S. Women's Amateur champ last 2 years.
Yeah, actually won her last in pretty convincing fashion last year over Moria Tanagarn at Rhode Island Country Club. think he got a putt pretty well around there. Look at Brad
On the
Batch.
left,
He
on the
did
left
it all
edge
right.
of those.
Yeah, he's done okay through the years,
Perfect.
rolling it.
Just a good solid one. That's all right, bub.
Choi getting ready with her second there at 9. Some words of advice from Shane Joel, her caddy of just a couple of weeks.
At 131 left of the hole, little tiny bit of breeze coming off the right. The hole just on 8 paces, got a 9-iron in hand. And obviously, with her lead, the mistake has got to be long. Don't come up short. Contact seems to be good. This right of the hole.
Come on down.
Oh, is that a
Good
smart
shot.
Fairways and greens, that'll be a winning combination.
Maybe a birdie at hand there as well. 5 wins so far for Na Yeon Choi. A look at her 54-hole leads, at least having a share of the lead. And that will tell you that she's been a very solid closer. 5 wins in those 6 times she's had a chance. But again, this is the Women's Open. First time she's been in this position. Back to 9.
Yang, second shot.
That's from 124. It's a pretty good looking shot. Might need to get down just a shade.
Oh, it did. Stopped very quickly. So excellent chance for Amy Yang to make a birdie 3 there at the 9th. Perhaps cut into the lead as we go over to 18.
And Se-Ri Pak finishing up. Second shot here at the tough par 4.
Back left hole location, mid back left. Brings the water into play though on the.
Oh,
And there's one. Just 7 off the left.
kind of a little reminiscent of 14 years ago. And off the tee at U.S. Women's Open. This was one of the most popular shots, certainly around Korea, as Se-Ri Pak took the shoes and the socks off and was trying to hang in there with Jenny Shasiraporn coming down the stretch.
In fact, the still of that shot with her in up to her calves to play the shot comes on the national Korean television every morning as they play the national anthem.
Made a bogey at that hole, and then they went into the first ever sudden death, and on just the second sudden death hole at 11, you saw her running the birdie putt there to finally beat the then 20-year-old amateur from Duke, Jenny Shasiraporn. And again, it's amazing what that victory has done for her country. 40+ South Koreans with LPGA Tour cards today. Over at 13 for Christy Kerr. Christy at +1 today.
I'm not so sure many people saw this weekend performance coming from Christy either. Normally when she gets anywhere around the lead in a major, she doesn't go away very quickly.
Shot a 77 yesterday. Over at 11 is Creamer for par.
Now bogey at 10.
Just keeps waiting for her putt to heat up. Creamer stays at +2, and you can stay connected with Golf Channel's mobile app with access to scores, blogs, videos, and the latest news on the go. Now available for your iPhone, Android, and tablet. And back to 13 for the tee shot of the 36-hole leader, Suzann Pettersen. That seems like such a long time ago. Pettersen, as we showed you earlier, with that 78 yesterday.
Ideally a high cut in here, catch the slope and wiggle it all the way back.
And as we were showing you some of the notable players who shot high scores yesterday, Brittany Lang was one of the 2 recent winners on the LPGA Tour, not Amy as we refer to her on the graphic. And back to Sandra Gall, third to last group. Jane Crafter with this duo of Vicky Hurst and Gal at the 10th.
Well, thanks, Dan.
Yeah, it's like 2 yards, right?
Yeah.
Sandra's laid up to a good angle to this back left hole location. Just 69 yards to the front and then 97 back to the hole. A big gully in between herself and the hole. She's going to have to kind of bounce this into the bank and then let it trundle on down to the left.
Flagstick on 28. She needs to get it past about 23 paces to have a legitimate birdie chance. Lateral hazard left.
Yeah, it's just 5 off the left today. She's got a reasonable amount of spin on it. Won't be a bad spot to putt from.
And up at 11, Nicole Castrale for par. We have documented her comeback from injuries and having her first child and to get into this championship. It's been a really, really magical week for her.
It really has. Went through qualifying in Phoenix, made it, and was so ecstatic when I talked to her back at the LPGA Championship just to be here, let alone play so well.
Back to 9.
And Na Yeon Choi looking at her putt for a birdie.
And from this angle, Gary, a putt that's slightly downhill. I don't think anything frightening as far as speed is concerned, and I think it'll turn a little bit to her left on the way down there.
Well, it was here at the 9th hole yesterday that Na Yeon took a look at the leaderboard to see how she was doing, and her caddy there, Shane Joel, asked her, "What are you doing? You know, don't look at those things. There's no sense in it." And obviously it was good advice. She didn't look again until after she had finished at 18. It worked out pretty well.
It had to be a nice look when she finally looked.
Have you noticed her today? Is she avoiding them? Or?
Yeah, I have not seen her look at one.
Boy, no tension on that grip on the putter.
Over at 18.
It's a double green here, 9 and 18 sharing the same green, and that little cheer you heard earlier was from Sairi Pak's 4th, just adjacent at the 18th green. Fans here certainly remember Sairi and what that win meant to her and her native South Korea country. So Sairi just about to finish up 14 years later. Pedersen for birdie over at 13.
So putting a little bit downhill. Get it past the hole, it'll turn left and go actually to the back side of the green. Well done there. Yesterday made double here at 13.
And back over to 9.
And a chance for Amy Yang to cut into the lead.
And it would be her 3rd birdie on this hole this week. Should she hold this?
Gary got a text from her teacher, Tom Creevy, a bit ago, and he said he's never seen her as settled and as comfortable close to the lead in a big kind of way as she is this week.
She made that one look pretty easy. Moves to 3 under par. Now 5 off the lead as they head to the back 9.
Well, it was really hot here the first couple of days at Black Wolf Run. Our slow-mo camera at 5,500 frames a second, showing you what it looks like to bust a balloon. That would have been a nice piece of water to be a part of earlier in the week, huh?
Where was that Thursday and Friday?
Just earlier at the par 5 10th, Cendric All for birdie.
Should work right at the very end. Oh, perfect speed.
And she's back into red numbers at 1 under, so total of 3 under par. Thompson is at +1, live just behind in the fairway here, giving it a go in 2. Okay.
And this is what Lexi's game, a big part of it's all about. Her power, her length, and she bombed one here. Only has 238 yards to the front of the screen, 266 to the hole. And that's pushed out to the right. Drove it 50 yards past her fellow competitor, Mika Miyazato.
Youngest winner in the history of the LPGA Tour. And then followed it up with another win on the Ladies European Tour just a short time after that. So, yeah, the real deal is Thompson, who's in the top 10 in this Open so far. Sairi Pak finishing up for bogey. And I know she would have liked to have done better, Donnie, but still fighting that shoulder injury.
Well, it was just a big thing for her to get back to this championship. That injury happening at the Mobile event where she actually fell down a flight of stairs at the golf course and tore her labrum, left shoulder.
So the final group is at the 10th tee, and Amy Yang.
with driver here and helping ever so slightly. Starts up the right side, drawing just a little bit. May need to kick left some.
And it did. Boy, that got a good 60, 70 yards worth of roll. That was pretty warm.
Up at 13 just earlier at the par 3. Cristie Kerr for par.
She has left herself a lot of these this week. It hasn't been a low stress week for Cristie.
Stays at +2. Back over at 10. Na Yun Choi. We talked about her physical stature. Not very big. She's just 5'5", maybe 110 pounds. Talked to her coach Kevin Smeltz this morning. He said, hey, pound for pound, she can bring it. She's a lot longer than she would appear to be. And Roger, you've seen a couple of those belts today, which roll out pretty good.
She creates a little speed through the hitting area, that's for sure. This one pulled, though, down the left. This is too far left. That's in the hazard. And that did not carry the hazard up by where it landed. She'll have to drop that much further back.
I mean, I can't see one stick there.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this from face on. Oh, really in pretty good position. Drops the club inside, a little bit of a Sergio going on there. Look at the right hand releases very, very quickly. Didn't quite get all the weight transferred to her left side. Got to keep fighting through your lower body as the tension of a championship starts to get bigger. You got to keep moving.
For that, though, can we? No, exactly.
Here's what they're going up. Cristie Kerr hit it in that hazard, that same hazard, the first 3 days of the championship. Got out of there with 2.5, so maybe not a huge number.
There's a couple of tee boxes ahead where the hazard line is right to the left edge of the tee, so she may have crossed in that area. So she would move forward from the teeing area by about 100 yards.
Speaking of Smeltz, he's out there watching her. He was here earlier in the week. Saw her play 1 hole on Thursday. Flew back last night. He's here for this final round. Creamer at 12.
Her second shot at the 447-yard par 4 tough hole location here today in a little hollow that no one has gotten it close. Only 3 birdies all day. This ball could easily come back off the slope.
That little nose back there should continue.
I think so. So it's getting better and better, and Paula Creamer likes it. She'll have a chance for a birdie there at the 12th, and that would move her to +1. The story, though, Na Yun Choi in trouble at the 10th. Stay with us.
When we have the Titleist 3, so I'll look here. But I saw it when it was in the air.
Well, this guy said it landed very close. Careful, careful.
That's how treacherous it is over there off the side of the 10.
Well, it was hooking, but
very dry, very steep.
As they're trying to figure out where this tee shot of Na Yun Choi crossed the hazard.
I know it was drawing, but
our camera angle really didn't reveal anything either way about where the ball may have crossed the hazard. They're relying
they what, sir?
on the marshal, on the volunteer.
I mean, if the ball landed here, even not here, we can, like that line, we can, cross that line. Like, my ball wasn't like hooking.
I'm certain
Roger, you're down there. What was the? Did you see the flight pattern of Na Yun Choi's ball? Was it drawing?
It was mostly pulled, but there was some draw on it as well. It is possible, although by a narrow margin, that it could have crossed up here, and that's what they're trying to determine.
We're going to take a look back and see the ball flying away. Definitely left of the 2 team grounds in front of Na Yun Choi.
Correct.
And here's another look as it comes through. This is the point where they're trying to determine. That looked fairly far left from this angle from where they're looking at.
We just need to determine where the ball last crossed that hazard line.
Let's bring in Senior Director Rules of Golf Thomas Pagel, who's here with us. What's your take on things?
Yeah, Dan, what they're doing right now, they're trying to determine where it last crossed the margin. Obviously, from the angle we have, it's tough to tell if it crossed up at the fairway or not. So to make the determination, they're basically going to have to use their best judgment. They're going to have to take all the evidence that's available to them, including the marshals that were down there, the player perspective, and just try and make that determination.
Did you get Thomas?
Meanwhile, up ahead. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, and if they can't determine that it did cross up at the fairway, she's going to have to go back to the tee. That's really going to be her only option.
Good luck for Lexi Thompson. You just called a birdie there.
Well, we'll call you back in on 12 and 13 if that's all right.
All right.
As Thompson moves back to even, we move back to 12.
And see if Paula Creamer can make just the 4th birdie of the day here at this difficult par 4.
Wow, Gary, that ball came back some 10, 12
yes,
feet.
It did. Down the slope. And Creamer, who practiced putting in the dark after her play on Friday, so frustrated she was with her putting. And obviously, it's paying off.
Yeah, Paula says that's been a recurring theme, practicing that putting.
And that's only about 12 feet right of where Nayeon is standing now.
Did you get the information from
Japanese people say I mean, even my Paul carried the gear. Should be, I think it's all past all the covers.
Well, I'm saying, like, even if
Landing there.
we just, I just want to get it right.
Roger, what are you hearing out there?
Well, I was just asked by Glenn Nager, the president of the USGA, if it looked from our angle as if it was always left of the forward teeing boxes back in the area where she started. And the answer was yes. So they still have yet to make a determination as to whether there's a tiny little inlet up here, whether the ball may have crossed there. So still up in the air.
Probably had a 4 or 5 yard draw on it. Yeah. I mean, obviously, not all of it's in the last bit, but most of it's in the last bit. I mean, I would have thought it got close to right down there. Yeah, he told me. He's going to set it landed right around. Yeah, only what, about how far from the red line you think? A foot or?
I'm gonna. My best guess, again, being across the fairway, would be it was right in here, about a foot into the rough.
Oh, okay.
That where I saw it bounce.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Well, there's the marshal. You could hear what he said. He was the closest on the scene there. I don't know exactly how close he was, or
what do we?
Well, he said he was across the fairway.
Yeah, but I guess
so
he had
the evidence that they have.
Yep, they go with the best piece of evidence they have, and as you heard Thomas Pagel describe, they gather it all and make a decision from there. And you could hear your caddy say there was about a 4 or 5 yard draw on it as it came in there.
It was left of the forward tee the whole way.
No, I was the right side.
Well, they have on TV that the ball was left of the forward tee the whole way.
Like for starting?
Yeah.
Which tee are you talking about?
The forward tee.
The one over here?
No,
or the one?
That one, the one over there.
The one just in line with the shack
with
there?
The shack, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, every drive that you hit forward is left of that forward tee. That if you hit it over that tee, you're hitting it in that rough over there. So you hit it right down the middle, you're left of that forward tee.
I'm just saying, you could have had a draw on the ball and never crossed this margin.
I understand that, but if we ascertain that the ball landed within a couple of feet of the red line, okay, which is the best guess of these guys right here.
Absolutely.
Okay, so and it wasn't, and I understand it wasn't a rope hook. It was pulled and it started left and it had, I think we all agree, about a 4 or 5 yard draw on it. Now, if you go back there, now a 4 or 5 yard draw puts it here, probably starting right around here. Now, me in a line with that tee puts us about 10 yards this side of that red stake.
Well, no doubt Shane Joel is taking charge here. Again, just the second time he's been on Na Yeon Choi's bag.
Well, he sounds like he's defending a dissertation right now.
Well, I think he's presenting a very logical case as to whether that ball might have crossed the hazard. Certainly up here in her advantage, but back about 25 yards from where they're standing now, or where they were standing, where her ball landed in the hazard.
Ball was turned to the left, and then think about my distance. Definitely my carry over the net front. And then they say, like, everybody agree that 4 or 5 yards to the left.
Glenn Thomas was saying that.
And that is Glenn Nager, president of the USGA, there on the left on the scene.
And Ben Kimball, the director of the Women's Open, there with the dark sunglasses on and no visor.
I think we're going to have to go back.
No,
I understand your point, but
no, we just got to get it right. That's the main thing.
Absolutely.
There's
I think we can get your
car
ride
waiting
over
for
here.
you over here.
Okay.
So Thomas Pagel, you've heard everything said here. They're going back.
Yeah, they did the proper thing. I mean, you could hear the conversation that was going on. They were really just trying to gather all the evidence they could. But at the end of the day, I mean, the angle we had, the fact that the marshals weren't right there, it didn't look like it had crossed. So really the only option she has available to her right now is to go back and play from where she last played from.
And the sooner you get that out of your mind, make good with it and move on. Don't think, well, maybe I should have gotten a better ruling than that. This is what it is. You go try to make 5 or 6 and keep the disaster off the scorecard.
I mean,
meantime, it's been quite a wait for Amy Yang, who's the closest to Choi right now at 3 under. Roger.
Well, has 275 left to the hole. It is playing downwind some, but has an iron out, so this has to be a layup. Pulled a little left and kicking left.
Well, word from the truck is that we have another angle of this tee shot of Choi. So let's check this out. This is from looking from the other side.
See how quickly this ball does start left.
And again, from this angle, this perspective, it's almost impossible to judge. And again, that was more or less the perspective that the marshal had, right?
Yeah.
Thomas, on the other side of the fairway?
Yeah, that's correct. It was that was the angle he had. I mean, you could see that it clearly landed inside of the hazard. So
yeah, he was just going over there saying, hey, this is where it went down. But as far as where it crossed, that was a tough angle to judge from.
That's correct.
I think the experience of having a guy on the bag like Shane Joel, who actually caddied for Mark O'Meara, so he's been in a pressure cooker situation in the past.
Yeah, you know if you're Na Yun Choi that you had your best fight, your best battle, your best support that you possibly could have had. He did a great job with it, but in the end, all the information points to going back. So,
and he'll know that it's part of his job to get her back focused right now. That does not matter anymore.
No worries this time. Up the right side. That should kick left, but still stays in the primary rough.
So we'll see how the leader, who's already had her lead trimmed to 5, handles trouble at the 10th in the U.S. Women's Open.
Yeah, just normal, exactly. There you got your line. Pins back left. Get us back in position there.
Na Yun Choi's caddy continuing to try to calm her down here, Dottie, after the trouble here at 10. 4th shot after finding the hazard.
Important to hit a good second layup, get a good number, get a good angle.
I don't know if that'll get out to the fairway or not.
It did not, and in the primary rough.
So she lies 4 there on this par 5.
Okay. Head up.
So this U.S. Women's Open is going to tighten up how much after the final number is posted here by Choi. Over at the 12th.
Sandra Gall with her second shot. 186 yards, so back quite a ways. Look to be a little left. Will it get a hop? Needs to hop right. It just gets hung up in the intermediate cut of rough. Have to land the ball right on a down slope, so it'll be a delicate little 3rd shot there.
Just a little left of that crest, yep.
Well, as you look at Na Yun Choi, continue on at the 10th. Of course, the champion here at 98, Se-Ri Pak, so inspirational to so many South Koreans, but it wasn't until Se-Ri won this title here 14 years ago that Na Yun Choi realized what she really wanted to do.
that moment, I didn't know about the LPGA Tour. That moment, I want to I want to be a professional golfer. That's it. But when I watch her, you know, on TV, and then I have to go there. I want to go there. So, you know, I got bigger dream than before.
As you look at Sairi Pak, who has joined us in the tower. And Sairi, I know it's just another one of the many examples of players who have looked up to you for so many years, especially to that milestone moment right here at Black Wolf Run 14 years ago. But that must make you feel pretty good to hear Na Yeon Choi and all the others talk about how you inspired them and really a whole country to come over here to the States and play this tour.
Actually, it is. As soon as I heard from all those young players from my country, I mean, I really am proud of it, to be in part of it. And I said, it just as Na Yeon said, I was one of the days watching TV. I was in Korea, I was in kids, watching men's tournament, I was watching the LPG event, and exactly I was dreams about it. I want to go there, I want to be #1 in the world, I want to be the best, so I'm here, and then now on, I guess I'm the leader and they follow the lead, so hopefully I'm leading right way.
Yeah, well, so many players reach for those moments of inspiration. That's what Na Yeon Choi has done, but she's got her own challenge here at 10, Roger.
Well, I was not able to get a good look at her live, but it is still in the primary rough. Has 165 to the hole. Wind helping, something's going to have to come in here, land short, and chase it back, let it roll back to that position, I would believe.
I like that one.
Seems like a shot of 150, 153 yards or so in the air might actually get back there with the wind
lying?
and coming out of the rough.
Yep.
I can't see her getting
Left
much
side
spin
of
on
it.
this, so
No.
I'm going to have to leave room for it to run once it
It's a good full
lands.
one, that's fine.
This was not set up like she's going to bail. She's taking dead aim.
Oh, this is really, really low. That not solidly struck.
That's just nerves.
Lies 5 there and is unraveling, to say the least, here at the 10th. Let's get another angle from behind on this one.
Well, I mentioned how much she was taking dead aim and just very quick through transition, and out it comes. We didn't see one inkling of nerves yesterday. Catches the ball on the bottom of the club face, no chance. Those are nerves.
So Amy Yang continues to get closer to the hole and closer to the lead. And there could be a huge swing here between her and Choi. Her third from 64, Roger.
From 64 yards, not a good angle, and out of the rough, and again downwind. I would have to think she'd be looking a little bit right of the hole.
Yeah.
Well, she played an aggressive shot right at it. Landed very softly in the bottom of the little low area there and just hit dead.
So a chance for a birdie for Yang as we are rejoined here by Sairi Pak. I know you wanted to perform better here. Still, it was pretty good effort here making the cut on a very tough golf course. Give us an update on your shoulder and how that affected you here this week and what your plans are to take care of it in the future here.
Right, well, before I got here this week, everybody's just worried about my shoulder because everybody heard about what happened on May. But overall, my shoulder has been almost perfect, but still kind of weak. Of course, I really want to be here. That's why I'm trying to focus this week as much as I could. And then overall, I mean, still it's not much bothers, but I still work to do. So at the end, I just don't want to push myself because I need a long career to go. So after this week, I'm trying to take it easy on it.
Sairi, when you won here in 1998, there was a big swing on the 6th hole in the playoff, a 3 or 4 shot swing. Same potential sort of thing could be happening here to your countrywoman. What was going through your mind, and talk to the viewers a little bit about what you think, knowing her so well, she's going to need to get through this hurdle?
Well, I mean, especially this golf course, you know, every hole is pretty important. I mean, as you can see, just you misses by little, and then everything's going to be, totally different numbers come out. So exactly same thing, but still long, holes to go, many holes to left. So just hang in there and trying to play much as you could. Try to focus a shot at a time, which would be great.
6th shot at the par 5.
Yeah, from the heavy rough here, and this will green runs away from her slightly, so this will run quite a way as this will run to her left, coming up over a ridge. Really, that's not too bad a play from there at all.
There's a chance for a double. Has not made a double bogey or higher this week before this hole. Back at 11, Lexi Thompson among the many here who have a chance to really make up some ground with Choi's problems. Thompson, if she gets that back in for par, will remain at even.
Back over 12. Very delicate little chip here from just off the green. Some pickup speed, turn hard to the left. That's really well judged.
Boy, that contact sounded so crisp.
So should have no trouble making a par there to remain at 1 under, and we'll go back to the 18th tower.
Sari, before we let you go here, Amy Yang also a native of South Korea. Both South Koreans in the final group. You have to be awfully proud of what the South Koreans have done on this tour and in this championship as well.
Well, I mean, I said last year, same situation. This year is again the same situation. But I'm very proud of both of them, no matter what happened. But they're such young, players. They have such a great talent. So, they have a long to go. So I'm probably giving not much pressure. Hopefully, they're such have a great run today.
Sarah, you share a teacher with Amy and Tom Creevy. Yes. Did you have any sense that she may be headed for a championship as good as she's having right now?
She will. I mean, she's such a strong girl. I mean, I play with her, I practice with her sometimes, and as you can see, she's really, really strong. But I guess she's still learning time, but she's still young. So she probably, after this week, she got more building her confidence, and overall, I mean, she was going to be a good player.
Sari, thanks for joining us. Great to see you again, and all the best with your health and your shoulder. The champion from '98, World Golf Hall of Famer, Sari Pak. And now we've got a putt for double bogey 7 for Na Yeon Choi. So she will drop at least 2. The lead's not going to be better than 6 under, and it might be 5 under. And Yang could pull within a couple here very easily. So what we talked about yesterday late with that big lead by Choi, and then again today in the early going is happening, Dottie.
There are just so many places you can stumble here, and it's not like at Olympic where you think like you can pop it out of there, somehow make a bogey. This golf course has danger that is really big. It's not a get on a bogey run kind of golf course like we saw a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it hits you with some punches that really hurt. Choi, we'll see if she can minimize the damage here. This for double.
Can have a lot to do with her psyche leaving this hole.
Just like that, triple bogey, 8 for Choi. They've been so solid all week. Avoided any score of a double. Come in with just 8 bogeys, so solid. 8 birdies yesterday, and boom. So Yang with a putt for par to get within 2.
Just brought a lot of people back into the championship.
Yeah, not just Yang. You've got Gall back there at 1 under. She's all of a sudden within 4. Thompson, the 17-year-old, within 5.
And such a good golf course. If you can post a number, as we've just seen, there's a train wreck that could happen.
So a par for Yang. All of a sudden, 67th U.S. Women's Open has changed dramatically. And Paula Creamer for par at 13.
6 shots back, this becomes a very, very important putt.
+2 for Creamer with her second bogey in the last 4 holes. And we go to 12.
Lexi Thompson has hit a very errant drive way to the right.
Yeah, this drive kind of came out of nowhere, Gary. She'd been pounding the ball very straight and long, and she is down in that very, very deep bunker. This bunker's some 25-30 feet deep.
Looks like she's just playing back to the fairway.
Yeah, she's actually just on outside the bunker on a slight uphill lie.
It's unbelievable. That fairway about 55 yards wide. Players have hit it 85% of the time. So that is a big miss. Back at 11.
How will Choi recover after a triple? And there's no doubt about it. Your playing competitor Amy Yang saw it all unfold and now knows she is 2 back. card for Choi. Out even front 9, and then the ball on the hazard, which started her downfall at 10. So Yang with the honor at 11.
And driving back into the wind, not a long hole at 375, but danger on the left, very near the left edge of the fairway. Solid tee shot here, going down the left, but that should be okay.
Just crawls into the first cut, but of no issue even where the hole location is today.
That same line we've been looking at all week, okay? Good rhythm.
Well, this is a good hole to try to bounce back on for Choi. As you can see, birdied it all 3 days.
This is where she started to really steamroll with her round yesterday at birdie 10, 11, 12. She went on to make a 2 there, or 3 there rather.
It's going down the left. That should be okay.
Maybe can gain some inspiration, and as much as this was the hole that Saeed Pak won the sudden death playoff with Jenny Shasiraporn at that 11th with a birdie over to 13 for Gall, who's 1 under.
This hole playing 189 yards today. Sandra Gar going with the 5-iron. This is
off the rocks.
Yes.
Again.
Double rock bounce, and then finally the unmistakable sound.
Great audio there by our
Yeah, we weren't keeping track of the golf ball, but we kind of knew where it was after the last sound.
Yeah, terrific work there.
So Black Wolf Run has claimed its latest victim here. Na Yun Choi at the 10th, still with a 2-shot lead. 67th U.S. Women's Open continues as we go to our studio in New York. Back at the U.S. Women's Open, where Na Yun Choi had a 6-shot lead to start the day. It was intact through the 8th hole before a triple bogey derailed her at 10. And with Yang's par there, the lead is down to 2. It was the largest 54-hole lead in this championship since Amy Alcott led by 8 in 1980 out of the 12th.
Lexi Thompson's 3rd shot on the way here at the par 4.
Go.
152 yards. She's yelling for it to go, and it's not going to get over that one little hump. So a putt will go up and then back down to the hole. And ahead at 15, the short par 4. This was just earlier. Suzann Pettersen with a chance for a birdie 3. And Suzann makes her first birdie of the day.
That was something we certainly didn't see many of out of her yesterday either.
No. We go to 18.
And we're the defending champion. So Young Yu is putting for bogey. And just so happens there were 2 South Koreans in a playoff last year at the Broadmoor. The Young So, a part of that 3-hole playoff that So Young Yu won by 3 shots.
Actually, she made a putt of about double this length just to get into that playoff at the 18th. It was such a difficult par 4 to finish.
And a difficult championship in many respects. All of the weather delays. It did not finish until Monday, even though the new format for a playoff in the U.S. Women's Open has been instituted for a few years now. It used to be 18 holes. Now it's the 3-hole, which it is here as well.
Last time it was an 18-hole playoff was at Newport, where Annika Sorenstam defeated Pat Hurst.
And Annika will be joining us in just a few moments as Yu is off the mark there. So not a good finish for the defending champion. But there were a lot of players, certainly of her stature, who didn't even make the cut. +5 the championship for the defender. As we go over to Roger Maltby.
Amy Yang just off the edge of the fairway. First fairway she's missed so far, but has 132 to the whole. Tree overhanging in her way. Has to play a little draw up and around it.
Last tree about 100 yards from the center of the green. Boy, she did a pretty good job of it, but you can see the golf course, Roger, firming up.
Yes, it is. It's starting to get that little brown tinge to it.
To 12.
Lexi Thompson for her par. Putt that goes up and over a little knob right there, and then back down the hill. She'll move a little to the left. Hang on. Boy, what a good putt. So that is going to drop her to +1 as we go back to 11.
And a little better angle for the leader.
And she has 131 and just clear of that overhanging tree. She can hit straight at the hole, but she would have to come close to those trees on the left-hand side.
Should be able to spin it from the fairway much better than Yang out of the rough.
That's a pretty good looking shot if it gets up.
That's a great looking shot, especially what has just happened. So Choi, after the disaster at 10, is in line for a birdie at 11. Lead was 6, down to 2 over Yang, 4 over Gall, the only players under par on the Women's Open.
At the 12th, just earlier, Mika Miyazato had this putt from just over 20 feet, chance for a birdie. Down the hill, and just enough. That moves her to +1. First birdie of the day for Mika. As we go to the 11th.
And Yang, Roger.
Lengthy putt here that will break from right to left. Actually a little bit back uphill from this rear portion of the green. Nice effort there.
That is some low stress sort of speed.
And over at 13, Gall for bogey. Remember, she found a water.
You have to wonder how comfortable she's been in this position as the championship has gotten deeper and deeper. She has not even had a top 10 this year. Her best a tie for 12th at the last major played, but not a great start to the season.
And back at 11 for Na Yeon Choi, Roger.
It looks to be not terribly difficult putt inside the hole on the left. I think if anything it's got to go a shade right, but I don't think a lot. Be a nice bounce back after last hole.
Would it ever?
And if you have leaderboard watchers in those groups ahead, it sends a signal. They're going to hear a roar, but they're also going to take a look and say, wow, okay, she's not done fighting.
You know, I talked to a lot of people. I talked to her agent, her golf instructor, Kevin Smeltz, as well. And everybody seems to think that, you know, she is a lot tougher internally than she would appear to be. She's not very big, but they all referenced how tough she is. And that has been her nature ever since she was a little girl. Right now how tough she is after that triple. Comes back with a birdie at 11 to up the lead again to 3. And up ahead to 13. Gall for double now.
Well, this is not an easy putt at all, Dan. None of them are out here at Black Wolf Run, that's for sure. And I agree with you, Sandra. I can see just a little bit of sign of nerves coming. It was a really poor tee shot.
So what are her signals, Jane? Does she tend to take a little longer? Or is she just, yes, out of rhythm?
Exactly. She's really overanalyzing things right now. And moving quickly on the putts, up and out of them quickly, Dottie.
That was similar to the putt we saw her hit at the 9th.
So only 2 players under par in the final group, separated by 3. To win this kind of championship, it takes nerves, it takes talent, and Annika Sorenstam has performed in this sport unlike many who have ever played the game. All those wins, more than 70, 10 major championships, 8-time Player of the Year, including the winner of this U.S. Women's Open 3 times. All over the world, Annika Sorenstam has performed, and it turned her into a World Golf Hall of Famer back in 2003, and she joins us right now, and I can't wait to ask you what has we've seen happen here with Na Yeon Choi. What are your impressions of it? And if you were her caddy, what kind of things would you be telling her right now?
Well, you just got to tell her to calm down and, you know, take your time. Don't rush into things. And I mean, I am very impressed with that birdie that she just made. I mean, that was quite the hole, the number 10th hole there. I mean, she's had such a significant lead, and all of a sudden you see it's just chipping away. That takes some mental strength to recover from that.
And she's on the tee at 12, the par 4, Gary.
Yeah, playing to its full length today, 447 yards, a very difficult hole location. Just been 5 birdies made here all day. Ideally, you take it up the left side with a little left to right movement, and there's a big slope up the left side. You can actually get some extra run.
Looks to be a solid tee shot.
Yeah.
Up the right side. That should be far enough to avoid the tree that's on the right of the fairway. That could potentially block you, but I think that'll be fine.
Amy Yang next. Wonderful rhythm to this golf swing.
It's a good golf swing. I like it very much. Pretty solid fundamentals.
Good. Nice ball shot.
And 2, solid tee shot.
That one takes, that takes advantage of that little slope, and that is going to be well beyond the ball of choice. Over 13.
Lexi Thompson with a 6-iron. Most difficult hole today. A half-stroke over par, averaging just 3 birdies. Little body English there by Lexi, and another one in the water. She's had a number of balls in the water this week, Dottie.
And not just on this hole. She's visited the water there before and made double. She's playing this golf that's not so good for my heart.
Turning into a 2-golfer race here with Lexi's latest problems. Gall backing off. And if you've got a high-def television set, that guy really shining brightly at Black Wolf Run. Back here at Black Wolf Run, the race for low amateur concluded earlier, and it turned out to be a pretty good race. 15-year-old Lydia Ko went double bogey, triple to just squeak it out over Emma Talley. Ko, 15 years old, the 4th youngest in the field. You can see by her body language it was a tough one coming down the stretch, but congratulations to her, the top-ranked women's amateur in the world. Lydia Ko, just 15. Out to 12.
And the second shot for the leader.
It's 214 hole, 189 to the front. Can chase the ball in here.
Down.
Uh-oh, this is left. This is not a good miss. Oh, there's some deep stuff over there.
Remember Yanni Sen making a big number over there early in the week on Thursday.
Dottie, there's a pattern developing. The miss is left. She's not getting her weight all the way through and onto her left side, as you pointed out on the 10th hole.
Gary, take a look at the replay.
Yeah, well, from behind, it'll be a little harder to see, but to me, her upper body is hanging back now. It's not getting through. See how long it took for the weight to get off the right foot and to get up on its toe? All right, Amy Yang, another opening.
176. Shot a little right of the hole.
It's to be expected after watching your competitor knock it up in the jump to the left. Good shot.
So Na-Yeon Choi again with a 6-shot lead to start the day. It was intact through 8. She did up it to 3 after a triple bogey at the 10th, which gave her just a 2-shot lead over Yang.
Well, Dottie, we were talking about Na-Yeon not getting over to her left side, especially with her upper body. We've got another view of this second shot here that went left. The right shoulder to me going down quite a bit, going and not going forward soon enough. A little short there. Not as much rotation with the upper body through the shot as you would like. And when you don't do that enough, the hands take over. Club face closes, ball goes left.
Well, we're going to look at Amy Yang in comparison to this swing, and in particular with her hips, not fighting them.
2 club lengths.
All right, Raj, a chance to look at Choi's lie.
Oh yeah, and it is no good. Very tall native grass here, and ball sitting down with a particularly thick batch of it behind the ball. So I don't know if she can get at this. I really don't.
I think you can get it out. I mean, if we drop within 2 club lengths, we can probably get it over here. Well, I mean, if you don't think you can get it out of the long grass, then we take a drop. We might even be able to get it over on wood chips with 2 club lengths.
This grass is
Too thick? Yeah.
Behind it.
I mean, I don't mind taking a drop if you can't get it out, which it doesn't seem to me that you think you can. Well, then we've got 2 club lengths, or straight back. Straight back's not better.
If I go too close, I don't want to. I have a problem here.
Well, you never know where it's going to end up exactly.
Let's bring in Thomas Pagel again with the Choi group.
Yeah, it sounds like she's talking with her caddy, and they're contemplating taking an unplayable here. You see Martha Lang, chairman of the USGA Women's Committee, stepping in to help. One of the relief options when you take an unplayable is to drop within 2 club lengths of where the ball's at rest. So that's the option you heard her caddy contemplating. The one important thing to remember when you're dropping in an unplayable, though, is if you drop it and it rolls up against another clump of grass, it's not a redrop. You have to play the ball as it lies. So there's definitely some risk in taking a drop here.
Good?
It's a good idea to try to recreate what you're going to face in the actual shot with grass similar in the area. Certainly no penalty there.
Like edge of the green?
Yeah.
Yes, it'd be less grass coming in on that angle.
From a caddy.
Monica used to go to rules seminars to make sure that you were up on every single thing you needed to be up on, to make sure that you were in the best possible position, even in trouble.
Well done.
That's a good shot, isn't it?
That was
Yes, it is. That's going to catch a slope and come back into the green, I believe. That's really good. That's as good as she could have possibly hoped for.
Yeah, the last thing she wants now is take a lot of chances. She needs to calm down and just compose herself and start thinking positively again.
Let's take another look. Picks the club up very quickly, and importantly continues to accelerate it through the grass. You have to make sure you win. Can't let the grass grab the club. Get a good look here. Hang on tight and swing hard. Keep the club moving. And we'll go up to the 18th.
Shin Shen Feng for birdie. This was earlier, of course, the big win at the LPGA Championship for China and her country, and she's going to go back there tomorrow for the first time since winning that big trophy. Feng in with a impressive final round 71, pair of 71s in a weekend. Very good scores.
Yeah, Siri was totally blown away by the impact and the reception she had when she went home after her first 2 big wins. Shan Chang will be in for more of the same.
Over to 12.
Yeah, big putt for Amy Yang. And she does a pretty good job of lagging it down there close. Ahead at 13.
By the way, Feng moved into a tie for 4th with that very good weekend play. Now for double at 13, Thompson was just dropping too many shots, Dottie. I mean, with Choi coming back to the field, Thompson, the opportunity was there to get closer.
When she realizes the opportunity she may have kicked away, she will not be real pleased. That's what major championships sort of make you look backwards and see where I should have done better, where if I'd known if I were hanging in there a little bit better, I may have been able to make some noise and make it harder for the leaders.
I know you had that mentality through the years. There was more than a few occasions, I'm sure, Annika, you're in the same boat where, oh, geez, had I kept it together, I didn't have to make a bunch of birdies, just play fairly steady, and you would have been in trouble.
Roger, does that nose of the green coming in off the right have a big effect on this?
Well, it does, yes. It'll move it to the left, and that's what contained her ball and got it back onto the green. So, yes, it will swing it to the left, no doubt.
A little bit.
Boy, would this be a 4 to remember?
Yeah. Should actually work back to the right a little bit as it gets near the hole.
It might. I don't know. The way it's swinging left, it may straighten up. You think it'll go back right?
Yeah, it very well could. About like that. Man, oh man.
What a last 3 holes, huh? She's experienced about every type of emotion you possibly can experience in the last 3 holes.
As good as it gets there.
Let's take another look at this putt. Read absolutely perfectly. Struck perfectly. Goes left early. And gently moves back to the right at the end.
Yeah, she's tough. She is tough.
This might be one of the putts she's going to remember in this tournament.
Houdini would have been rather proud, I believe.
Right, Amy Yang managed to tap in for her par. Na-Yeon Choi with the improbable 4 at the 12th maintains a 3-shot lead.
While in commercial, Gall had this for birdie at 14. And that comes at a good time after the triple at 13. So Gall fighting back to +1, but running out of holes, just 4 left. And just earlier at the last, Michelle Wie finishing up with her second. Michelle coming into 18 +9 for the day. Again, this is on the heels of a 78 yesterday when she was right in the thick of it.
Started the weekend at 4 under par for the championship.
But after all this struggling play the last 2 days, a birdie at the last. Michelle was 4 under through the first 36 holes and 1 off the lead. Final 36 holes +14 after a final round 80.
I'm sure she's not proud of the weekend, but I think she should take a lot from this week. I think she's really proven she can turn things around.
There were signs of it, that's for sure, especially the first couple of days.
Just trying to hit it, have it finish here.
Finish there.
Yeah, I think even if the pitch is, even 15 on is 14 on is fine.
I like the way Shane Joel is thinking.
So say 70.
Really not going to mess with that back hole location. Talked about it in the pregame show, and really anything in the center of the green here.
Right to left,
all
man.
you're looking for.
A little bit.
I keep thinking
just
about,
a nice
I mean, if Na-Yeon Choi
Just
doesn't win this
committed,
championship,
just driving range.
I mean, it'll be a huge assist
Yeah,
from
you
him.
see left edge of the tower coming down there. Okay.
Just the second time he's been on her back. It's like they've been together forever.
Start at the number 13. You like that?
I had a chance to speak to Pia Nilsson about Na-Yeon Choi.
165 shot.
And they've been working together for 3 years.
Happy? All right, let's see it.
She went to them right before she won the Samsung event. In fact, that was the first week she'd had a full chance to put what she worked on with Pia and Lynn into play. And came up with a win with 63 in the 3rd round.
And again, that's the Vision 54.
Correct, and they talked a lot about the body language and trying to self-talk, and I'm sure she had a few words to herself, but hopefully she composed herself, and like you saw the birdie there, it seems like it's working at the moment.
Hybrid club here, and I think she'd settle for the center of this green right now. This ball starts right. It is on a very dangerous line. This is water.
It's the rocks. She'd seen it all in the last 3 holes. Another one at 13. And that turned out really well.
I wonder if she was breathing for those few seconds.
This is one of the biggest roller coaster rides I've seen in a long time on a back 9 at an Open.
Yeah, we thought Lexi Thompson had us in for a roller coaster. This is worse.
Yeah, and this is the leader, and with a chance for her first major is going through the gamut. And Amy Yang's had the best seat in the house, Roger, on this roller coaster.
She's got a 6-iron out, so she's not trying to get it all the way back to the hole, not into this little bit of a breeze. This ball drawing to the left center of the green. All short of the hole, safe.
Na Yeon Choi, triple at 10, no problem. Come back with a birdie at 11. Escape with a miracle par at 12, and another mini miracle at 13. Great drama 14 years ago here at Black Wolf Run, and we have seen a little bit of everything, and we're still not through by any stretch. Na Yeon Choi battling Amy Yang down the stretch here. 6 holes left. Na Yeon Choi just got an unbelievable boost of luck here at the 13th, Roger.
Yeah, the first bounce didn't impress me that much, but the second one where it went left and forward, I thought that was really impressive. Amy Yang now with close to 90 feet. And he'll come up over a ridge immediately and then work down and to the right. There's another little mound further into the green, probably 20 feet short of the hole, that should influence it a little bit to the right from there as well.
And keep in mind, it's not that easy for Amy here to play, to see all these breaks and the emotions that's happening with Na Yeon Choi at this moment. She's got to stay very composed and just try to play her own game, because 1 minute she's 3 behind, and the next minute she's 4. You just got to keep on playing.
Her Sunday goal was to not change anything. I think it's a wonderful mindset. There's one ridge coming up on the second that Roger talked about.
That is really good. Good speed there.
So Yang has been in control, completely in control after that opening bogey at the first. Played 2 under golf since then. And that matches up with pretty much anybody out there right now, certainly in contention. Just 3 back. Now Choi trying to take advantage of the great break.
And that's not the toughest chip in the world. The grass isn't that long back here. Has to put the ball in the air, maybe
move a little
8 feet. Anything she hits is just going to kind of work to the hole.
See the shot in your head and play it.
Pitch it up onto the green further than I thought she might. Pretty good shot.
Interesting little balk there first, Roger.
A little stutter step.
Yeah. One of the things I like about her, she just plays, she's not complicated. She goes up to the ball, she hits it, she knows what she needs to do.
I asked her instructor, Kevin Smeltz, what she's working on. He says she's so good in virtually every phase of the game. If there's anything that she needs to improve on, a little bit of the short game and a little bit of the shots with different trajectories and just kind of put the finishing touches, but is so solid all the way around and has a chance to stay at 6 under. U.S. Women's Open brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. By the Hex Black Tour, our most highly engineered ball ever. By Chevron, partnering with the USGA to give kids a better shot. And by U.S. Bank, all of us serving you, member FDIC. And Na Yeon to play first for her par.
You know, it's about 2.5 feet. Shouldn't be much in it at all.
That's taking advantage of a break.
That's that new math. That's how you make 5 into a 3.
And do it for 2 holes in a row. She stole a couple at the previous.
So Yang now with a tester to stay 3 back. Here's a young lady, Dottie, now 22, but won that ladies master 2006 at the age of 16 years old, become the youngest winner ever on the ladies European tour. She was the first amateur to win on that tour in 22 years. Chasing Na Yun Choi for the biggest title in women's golf, the 67th U.S. Women's Open. Final group here at the short par 4 14th, just 331 yards.
The slope will help you move. It'll move to the right, you know.
They moved the
Finish
tee
on.
back
See the camera?
compared to
Just on the
yesterday.
left edge of it. Perfect.
Shane Joel continuing to take Na Yun Choi through this round every step of the way. You might remember he was in the conversation last summer as being one of the possible replacements or possible caddies for Tiger Woods. So that's how well respected he is in this game.
If she were to take the aggressive line here, over 240 to carry the hazard.
Well, she's challenging that right side.
You can breathe now, Roger.
That was a scary line that ball was on.
And no divots.
She's living dangerously.
NYC on the golf ball there for Na Yun Choi, safely in the fairway at 14. Now Gall, who's in solo third.
Yeah, birdie putt here at 15 down the hill, turning left and with some speed. So left to make a par there. Let's move back to 14.
And Amy Yang.
3 wood here.
The front pole location. I like this play better.
Yeah, she's a longer hitter too, so doesn't need the driver on this hole. You want to make sure you really get it to 85 yards or shorter from the green.
Whoops. Oh, comes out and then back in.
Think that spotter has any idea how close that golf ball is?
That's not exactly on the job there. Spotter kind of hid behind it. Anyway, doesn't look to be too bad a lie for Yang at 14. Na Yun Choi trying to hang on. 3-shot lead over Yang. 2 golfers battling for the Women's Open, both from South Korea. Who will defend at the 68th U.S. Women's Open, set for Sabonic Golf Club out on Long Island. 2013 USWomen'sOpen.com, the website to go to get your tickets. And a look at the upcoming sites for this championship. After Sabonic, it's on to Pinehurst, where they will stage the men's and women's opens back-to-back at number 2. Then on to Lancaster Country Club, site to be determined at 16, and then in New Jersey in 2017. And a good look at the whole location at 14, and Amy Yang first to play. Roger.
And by virtue of being left here, that mound that cuts into the fairway some 50 yards short of the green is going to block her view. Just 100 yards left, but I think maybe she might be able to see the very top of the flagstick, but no part of the surface.
Isn't it incredible, Roger, how Pete Dye gives you a safe place to hit it, but then you can't really see a second, or if you have to, then you have to gamble down the dangerous side to get a look. It's incredible how he's found a way over and over and over again to make that happen.
Yeah, I like that feature of his golf courses a lot. Makes you make the hard play in order to gain advantage. If you take the kind of chicken way out, then you got your work cut out.
She doesn't seem to like
very
it.
High and left. Yeah, got a good lie. Didn't bury in the bunker. Yeah, I agree with what you said earlier, Dottie. By hitting driver now, she has 72 yards left to the hole. Hole's only cut on 6 paces. There's just not a lot of room there.
Like that?
Pitch the ball and get it close.
This is a shot I think she's very good at, especially her tempo. Helps her to have good distance control.
hole.
Good shot.
So a little more of a stress-free hole here at 14. Na-Yeon Choi has worked hard on her golf game as she continues also to acclimate herself here to the United States and her life here. So a year after traveling with an English tutor, she indeed has come a long, long way.
When I came here, you know, I couldn't speak English, so I was like very uncomfortable with the American even players. So, but right now, you know, I can speak. I mean, not perfect, but I can speak with the people, and I can connect with the American fans. I think that make me very happy and comfortable.
Annika, you can relate to this when you came over as a young golfer from Sweden. You were so shy at times that you were petrified of lifting that trophy and having to make a speech.
Yeah, that is true. And, you know, I know Na-Yeon Choi is also shy. And, you know, she made a big decision in 2009. She called her parents and she said, you know, I need to be more independent. I need to focus on my game. I need some space. I need to take control of my game. Can you please stay at home? I need to do this on my own, and that's obviously hard to tell. Your parents have been supporting you from the very beginning, you know, and they have not been back since, and they trust her over here.
And they're watching back in South Korea as Yang plays this third.
A delicate little shot here. It's flown quite a ways. That's going to get on by the hole.
Okay.
And up to 18. Where Cristie Kerr, the champion from 2007, has reached the last. Can she put a birdie up? So Kerr with a bit of a rough patch down the middle portion of the back nine with a bogey at 14, double at 15. Finishes up this championship with a 75 plus 4. With a par at the last. She was in it, part of that three-way tie for the first round lead with her opening round 69. And back to 14. And just to expand on your point you were making earlier, Annika, she said, honestly, I was really scared to death when I first, you know, said, folks, you need to stay out of my life a little bit more. I want to do this by myself. But now she's become much more comfortable doing it, in her words, her way. And it says, she also says it's changed the way her parents view her. She said when she didn't play well, they used to lecture her and tell her what she was doing wrong and this and that. And she says it's all in all just a much more comfortable and better relationship. And we know that a lot of these young South Koreans come over here and the parents are very involved, Dottie, from the get-go, and remain so for quite a while.
They do. And I think the sheer number of South Koreans that are on the LPGA Tour makes that decision that she made a little bit easier. Saeri Pak was virtually on her own, because that needs just a little more speed to find the hole. She was on her own. Came to this country with really only her dad with her. Did not really understand the culture, understand the language, and it is much easier with the support that these players do have amongst their own.
Na-Yeon Choi says she's more nervous in the interviews than she is in the golf course. I don't know about today if that's specifically
but
true.
Most of the nervousness is not because they're not comfortable with themselves and thinking out the English language. They're afraid to make a mistake.
Pedersen for par at 18 rolls it in. So the 36-hole leader has a bit of a rough weekend, goes 78-75. And back to 14 in a big par attempt for Yang.
Should move just a little to her left, I would believe.
And all of a sudden, Choi's lead is back to 4.
With 4 to play.
And Yang with the only realistic chance of catching her. So tomorrow it's a game of chance on Big Break Atlantis, and then Faraday spends some time with one of the most popular figures the game has ever seen, Fuzzy Zoeller. It all begins tomorrow on Golf Channel. Out to the 15th.
Lexi Thompson has this downhill putt for a par. Second shot over the green. Pitch to this position, and a good putt there, but disaster on this back nine. You see the 2 bogeys, no birdies on the front, and then birdie at the 10th. But all of a sudden, what a run there at 12, 13, and 14. Bogey, a triple bogey, and a double bogey.
Got to learn to find a shot under pressure, Gary, that doesn't bend as much.
Yeah, I agree, Gotti. She tends to let her arms fly away from her body, and the ball gets started to the right. Sometimes it hooks, and sometimes it doesn't. So we go to 17.
And Paula Creamer, who has a pretty good final round going here, +1, but again, began the day a full 9 shots back.
We're even par for the weekend.
And in a tie for 4th right now.
It may seem early, it may seem 13 months away, but there are a lot of Solheim Cup points at stake for the Americans. Double this week, and with a short season next year, this week starts to matter a lot.
And why would you be so on that subject? I have no idea.
Just doing my job for Meg Mallon.
Are you keeping track of the points here, Dottie?
I got them all right here.
Paula Creamer still looking for that first win since her big U.S. Women's Open title at Oakmont.
And we move over to the tee at 15.
Not much wind there right now, Nayeon.
And Roger, they've snuck the markers up a tee here today. It's only playing 350 yards, and consequently, I've seen a lot of players miss the fairway. They've ended up in that big, huge bunker down the left-hand side.
And you got to be mindful of that. You don't want it in there, blind shot out of there. Not the place to be. This looks like a 3-wood here. Little breeze against him from the right.
Stay right.
It's going up the left.
Going up the left. It's got to go on this line.
Oh, how did that happen?
That's like walking a tightrope. They get back in the fairway.
Well, it's just off the fairway, Roger, but only by a couple of inches.
It's perfect now.
Wow.
I'm thinking if I'm Nayeon Choi, I send my manager to go buy a lottery ticket.
Well, been some pretty good bounces here in the last few holes, that's for sure. All right, Amy Yang next, also with Leslie Driver.
Really, the line that she would be looking at is right around the right side, just right of the bleachers up further.
Nice.
Start on a better line, yeah.
Yes, yeah, this will be fine. Very good.
Well, we all know that to win championships, you have to have some luck too. It's not just skill.
Well, so far, Young Choi seems to be getting a couple of those fortunate bounces that you talk about, Annika. She has a 4-shot lead. The latest one here at 15. It's going to be okay.
She's got it. Back-to-back championships for Annika Sorenstam.
Talk about great moments in USGA history.
Paula Creamer has broken through.
She wins it. Christy Kerr has her major championship, the biggest one of all.
And there it is. And today at Black Wolf Run, beginning the day with a 6-shot lead, Na Yun Choi has seen firsthand the myriad of emotions that can go with it in a final round of a U.S. Women's Open. Triple bogey at the 10th. Birdie bounced back at 11. 3 par since. And at the moment, a 4-shot lead in the U.S. Women's Open. And this was a moment ago. You know, somehow I cannot imagine Annika or Dottie in the final group, back 9, Women's Open, sharing an umbrella. But that is a nice gesture between the 2 South Koreans.
I always had an extra one packed for Annika in my bag.
Yeah, why not?
Always.
What makes you think that, Danny?
I don't know, just a thought. As we go out to the duo at 15.
And appears that Choi will be first to play, Raj.
And 114 left of the hole ball just off the edge of the fairway, but a very good lie. Whole front left side of the green. And at this stage, you have to be looking right of the hole and a little bit behind the hole, I would think.
Just going to make sure the ball doesn't release from that lie.
Wow.
Tremendous shot.
We'll move up to the par 5 16th. Sandra Gall playing her 3rd shot, this from 84 yards.
What was your favorite distance, Dottie, when you played type of these approach shots on par fives?
Needed to be 100 or 75. Those were my two favorite.
Good shot there from Gall. Birdie putt, a chance to get to even. We go back to 15. Yang with her second.
Yes, from 92 yards.
Nice shot. Dead aim, and she answers.
Under the hole.
Yeah, that's very good position there. We move up to 16, and Sandra Gall with this putt for a birdie. Jane?
In Gary, I think this is just an ideal spot to have a birdie putt from, just uphill. If anything, a little bit left to right, but I don't see a huge amount in it. Have you seen much from this angle?
No.
Yeah.
If anything, tendency has been perhaps to overread the break.
New putter for Sandra this week. Face change, a little heavier.
Firm enough? No.
She starts to move off it very quickly, and she is not sure of the line.
Don't you think the pace of the backswing is very slow, and that gives you a lot more time to move as we go to 18?
And Lizette Salas, who was a part of that three-way tie for the lead after Thursday's play.
This round got off to such a tough start for her. Made 7 at the first this morning.
Yeah, went from +1 to +4, and then more problems got her on the back. But learning process for the young player. You can join the Morning Drive crew for the best interviews. Who's that?
Are you calling in from Tahoe this week?
I'm calling in tomorrow morning early, and then yes, from Tahoe, 3 hours earlier. It's going to be early mornings for me.
Should have you read this promo. Morning Drive every weekday morning on Golf Channel. Back to 15.
Where Na Young Choi will putt first.
We're at a time now when if she makes this putt, if you're Amy, what's your approach? You got to be patient, but you're running out of holes. You got to stop pressing, and hopefully she can obviously, put the putt in as well and make birdie. But then you got to stop putting some pressure.
Well, she's got 3 shots between her and third, so she's got the opportunity to maybe take a chance or two coming down the stretch that she's got some comfort from behind.
Nayan has a putt that she can't get carried away with here. This is coming down the slope, and it's a little on the quick side. So whatever line she chooses, it better be one to die at the cup.
Situation like this, I always like to look at the front edge of the hole versus the back.
Good strike. A 7 under par.
You can see her emotions. They really haven't changed. Whether she hit it in, in the bushes or hit it close, she's just trying to stay very level.
And she is now 9 under par on the par 4s this week. That is some pretty spectacular play around here.
Especially when you consider that a lot of the yardage they added to this golf course was on the par 4s.
All right, Raj, big putt here for Amy Yang.
Yeah, pretty much a must-have. I would say right center. Not a lot of break in it.
And she's got it. So both players birdie the par 4 15. Lead remains 4. Water on 17, 16, 17, and 18 coming up. We go up to the 17th.
And the second for Paula Creamer. Currently in that tie for 4th, just one back, a solo 3rd, and is occupied by Sandra Gall. Creamer with a chance to stay at +2, and there is Lizette Salas for birdie. She's had the Hall of Famer Nancy Lopez follow her around this week in Annika, and it's moments like this and at championships like this where the dreams begin, and you see a Hall of Famer following you around who you've never really even met in person, or much less have much of a relationship with. That has to be pretty nice for Lizette.
Oh, it's very, very nice. And I mean, I know maybe tough start to the round, but if you look at it, what a wonderful week she's had, and the experiences and the memories that she can carry on moving forward with her parents, the way they've supported her. So like I said, US Open and memories, they go hand in hand.
Talked about her story this week. Her parents immigrating from Mexico. Not a lot of money. Her dad worked out a deal for her to take lessons from the head pro out in California while he became the head mechanic for the staff out there. Traveling around in that red truck, which got 90,000 miles on it. I mean, cross-country trips on the mini tours, and now here on the LPGA Tour, where she crossed from California to the last stop in Arkansas to here.
Well, she said, you know, she had a very good championship last year at the Broadmoor, and she wasn't real pleased to have to go back and qualify. She really wanted to finish off the year right and had to go back to qualify for a championship that's become very special in a short period of time. What a finish.
Yep.
She will take a lot from this week. Certainly not the weekend she was looking for, but a lot of good stuff.
Tee at 16.
And the hole has been moved up today. As yesterday it played at over 600 yards. And ideally you'd like to take a little right to left shot out there. Some bounds down the right hand side. Get a favorable bounce.
Remember, Gary, she gave the people on the right side a little bit of a thrill here yesterday.
Well, much more awkward tee shot yesterday, Dottie, from that back left tee. Shooting more across the fairway.
Yeah, good swing, go.
Solid shot. Right center of the fairway.
Club selection probably influenced by the size of the lead.
Yeah, well positioned and just a little layup.
This club's actually might have something to do with the size of the deficit.
I think it does, and maybe a big drive here will give her a chance to reach the green in 2. You never know.
I've seen a couple players get up right around the front of the green today.
More right. Good.
Nice little draw will help it. Kick the downslope and roll down there to a flat line.
There's a serious downslope, but you got to hit it about 265 to get to that, and that's out to the right.
Yes, it is.
Gonna get the kick. It's trying. And that'll find the intermediate cut of rough, and I'm afraid that'll force a layup as well. So we go to 17.
Where Paula Creamer for par to stay in the tie for 4th with Miyazato and company. Creamer drops a shot to +3 off the front page of that leaderboard. Na Yun Choi, who at one point had her lead trimmed to 2. Looking smooth and easy right now. Leader by 4.
Great moments in golf on NBC.
This putt of Jenny's has quite a break. This would be a miracle, but you never know.
Good looking putt, Jenny. You gotta be kidding me.
You're watching Golf Channel on NBC.
Still the single greatest expression I've ever seen in a golf course as Na Yun Choi plays her second at 16.
Perfect. Good shot.
And she has done it nicely.
And Gary, was great catching up with Jenny Shasirporn earlier this year. Visited her in Richmond, Virginia, and another congratulations to she and her husband Robert, who are expecting their first baby on Christmas Day.
As we move over to the 17th.
And Gall with a 6-iron.
Stay there. Stay there.
This is definitely a no-go hole location. You put the ball in the middle of the green. If it happens to climb on the upper deck, it's a bonus.
16.
Amy Yang getting ready with her second. Raj?
Yeah, 300 yards left to the hole, and the ball was sitting below her feet. The lie is good just off the edge of the fairway here, but this will be a layup. Got an iron out.
Good.
And a lofted club going down the left side. And that should be in good shape, I would think.
All about getting in the right position to avoid having to go over the big tree.
Tomorrow, the NBC Sports Network continues coverage of the Tour de France with Stage 9. Stage 8 today, and the overall leader remains Bradley Wiggins with a yellow jersey. Every night in prime time, NBC Sports Network, your home for the Tour de France, cycling's most prestigious race. This is the most prestigious championship in women's golf, and Na Yeon Choi is on the doorstep of winning another one for herself and South Korea. Paula Creamer on the tee at 18, the always tough finishing hole here at Black Wolf Run.
In fact, the toughest in the championship for the first 3 days, and that will make it even more difficult. Dangerous hole location, middle left.
And back at 17 for Vicky Hurst, and boy, did she have a tough finish to her opening 9, Jane. 2 doubles after she was hanging in there at even par.
Yeah, she's got to be disappointed. I really expected a little bit more from Vicky today, but she's a young player. She's got a lot to learn. She's making some strides. This is not the easiest chip shot. It's downhill all the way. She's got to land it up and over a little ridge. Decent lie. Green's really firming up right now in the sunshine. I have to open the face and really make sure she slides it right underneath it.
Since those back-to-back doubles to end her front 9, Hurst has played pretty well in the back. +1, couple of bogeys and a birdie.
I think she's made a great move this year. Well, nicely done there. Hiring Gary Gilchrist as her teacher. I think she'll learn. He has a pretty simple way of delivering things and seems to have a really good rapport with the young players.
16.
And a good look from behind the leader. The big tree that is
35.
such a pivotal part of this 16th hole.
40. Okay.
Still 13 average.
Yep.
Well, she's left the ball back far enough and is left enough in the fairway that she can play left of that tree. Now, she is on a bit of a downhill slope. She has 157.
If anything, a little
you don't want to hit one thin, kind of come off it, then that tree is in play. But a solid shot shouldn't be a problem.
But set off a little downslope. Coming in. Over's no good. I'd rather the ball end up here. Pin here. Even if it's here is okay.
Ball finish.
Even if the finish is there is okay. Yeah. I mean, it's only 25 front. Okay. I like that club a lot.
Some really good advice there from Shane Joel, because over
Like
is
coming
no
down
good.
right on
There's
it?
a bunker that's about 10 or 12 feet deep.
You can just start. You can just. Perfect.
Behind
Good
the
positive swing, Na Yeon. Good rhythm.
Well, I'm glad you say that, Gary, because I think he's done a very fine job of caddying for Na Yeon.
Do what you should.
Contact is good. Will it get up? Yeah. That's a good shot. Well thought out.
Well thought out, well executed. Below the hole, nice position. Ahead at 17.
Sandra Gall is in solo third at +1 right now for birdie.
Up onto the lower or the upper level there, going toward the hazard, picking up speed. Well done.
16.
Amy Yang getting ready with her third shot.
Yeah, that's 2 off a bit of a downslope. Ball a little bit below her feet. 125.
If I was her, I would try to be a little aggressive here, because Na Yeon Choi hit a pretty, it's a good spot there.
It's going a little bit right of the hole.
Yeah, a little bit of a runoff there, and it's going to hang. Okay. Young Choi, birdie at the 15th, well positioned at 16. She holds the 4-shot lead in the final round of the Women's Open. Welcome back, and here at the par 5 16th, Amy Yang with a chance for a birdie and a chance to inch a little closer.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of breaking this. It runs away from her ever so slightly, but might move a little to her left.
Well, a good putt, but not what she needed at the moment. Choi has That's a pretty makeable putt here.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of break in this, Gary. I guess it might try to die to the left just a shade, but I don't see any big slopes here to affect it. Slightly uphill from this angle. I'm sure 2 putts wouldn't upset her. What do you think?
With a
with a 4-shot lead?
4-shot lead?
We'll be fine.
I would think so.
Yeah, especially a simple 2-putt. She's put enough stress on herself to go around for a few people here on this back 9.
It's on a good line. Wow.
How about a 1-putt?
This starting to be a little more comfortable.
I guess.
Starting to look like destiny a little bit with everything we have seen. Speaking of that, it did not look good after a triple bogey at the 10th, which dropped her back to 5 under, and the lead was just 2. And then again, after a birdie at 11, up the lead back to 3. This was
well
her
done.
third at 12. This could have done anything. So she gets herself in position with a beautiful shot after she and her caddy, Shane Joel, thought about taking an unplayable. So what does she do with a par putt? After everything that had happened on the 2 previous holes, bury it to stay at 6 under and continue to lead by 3. And then the tee shot at 13 with that 3-shot lead. Right on the edge of the water. Not 1, 2 bounces. Safely stays dry. She got it up and down from there to stay at 6 under and adds the birdies at 15 and 16. And the lead is 5 for Na Yeon Choi with just 2 holes left. And there is a wait on the tee at the 17th where the final group is. So we're going to take a short break. But one more look at the latest birdie for Na Yeon Choi. 8 total yesterday. This brings the total in this final round to 4. Everything going her way in the final round of the U.S. Women's Open. Coming July 27th, the world's best athletes take the biggest stage. 2012 London Olympic Games coming July 27th. Opening ceremony to the networks of NBC Universal. And Na Yeon Choi listed as one of the goals she's had in her career. She's already accomplished a few of them. Win the Bear Trophy, what she's done. Also a part of that list of goals was win an Olympic medal. And of course, golf will be back in the Olympics for the first time in 100 years or so in 2016 in Rio de Janeiro.
And you're going to see a few Olympic medals given out in that pool in London. Lochte, Phelps, poor Dan Hicks.
Yeah, it's a nice venue to be at. I will say that. There's lots of good characters again who are back as they continue to wait at 17. The group ahead, second to last group, Mika Miyazato and Lexi Thompson playing.
Lexi, a pretty good 7-iron. It just released over the green. She chipped it strongly to this point. Another kind of a break, minimal break spot in a otherwise dreary back 9.
And Paula Creamer for par at 18.
She drove the ball on the right fairway bunker. Gritty.
Yeah, needs to see a few more goals and maybe Paula will get back on a winning track.
Should be a top 10 finish for Paula.
.74 for her.
2 full years since her last win coming at Oakmont.
This is Mika for bogey after hitting it in the hazard K.
Yeah, Mika, again, she's been very solid today. Just a couple of errant shots, and one of them came here. Her 5-iron came up short left, ricocheted down in the hazard. She'd been for a long time tied with a lot of other players for 4th, trying to chase down Sandra Gall to get to 3rd, but now she's going the opposite way. just couldn't quite hold it together today.
Well, we're going to have the 4th Korean champion of this U.S. Women's Open in the last 5 years and the 5th in the last 8 years. As you look at wins by country in women's majors since 2001, South Korea tops the list. U.S. next best at 10. And your home country, Annika, there, Sweden, you had a little bit to do with that number.
A few, but you know, Liselott Norman was a role model of mine, and she's the one that made me think I can win U.S. Opens. That she did in 1988, and that's exactly what Na-Yeon Choi was feeling when Seri Park won in '98.
Perfect.
Thinking maybe I can do this. If somebody else can do it from Korea, like maybe that could be me.
Na-Yeon Choi's father, Byung-ho, was an aspiring player in his own right. In fact, it was his dream to play professionally this game, and when he realized he was not going to be able to do that, he poured all of his energies into Na-Yeon Choi, his daughter, who at the age of 7, 3rd grade, took her to the range, and she got hooked on the game.
Well, this shot right of the hole up the center of the green, where you would kind of expect it to go.
They didn't have much money. They would travel to tournaments, and he would sleep in the car while Mom and Na-Yeon Choi were in the room. That's the dedication that he provided his daughter. And here she's on the cusp of winning the biggest one of all. Nicole Castrale with a nice weak way to end it.
And talk about a big putt for her. That gets her in the top 10. Will not have to go back to qualify for next year's championship.
Yeah, big smile on her face. Back to 17 for Yang now.
I know, Dottie, you said this is a pin. You really can't go for it, but I don't think really Amy has an option. She has to stop putting some pressure. She's running out of holes.
Well, this right, certainly right of the line of Choi. That'll miss the green.
The upside is that she is 4 shots clear of Sandra Gall in 3rd place, so a miss, but not a horrible one.
South Korean domination, to be sure. We're going to have the 10th different Korean to win a women's major, all in the last 15 years. Na-Yeon Choi looks like she's the latest. Yesterday, we asked Na-Yeon Choi about what it might be like to become the latest Korean to take a U.S. Women's Open trophy back to her homeland.
I can't imagine even, you know. I mean, we'll be very happy and excited. And, you know, if I bring trophy to Korea, I think a lot of people will be, you know, in the airport. And I don't know, like I don't want to think right now. Maybe after tomorrow, and then I can think.
Dan, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people on that airport. She's planning on returning home tomorrow.
Yeah, so it'll be a fresh win. If she's able to hold on, still a couple of holes here to get through. And a deep breath as it is becoming more and more of a reality.
Thin air at that altitude at times.
She knows right where she stands. Caddy was telling her yesterday, don't look at the leaderboard, don't get wrapped up in the moment before it happens. Hard to do that right now with a 5-shot lead. Yang now from the rough.
Now Amy already has a top 5 in a major championship this year, but I think she'll take even more from this. She was closer to being in contention, and in contention later.
To the 18th, where Gall drove it in the bunker. Blasted out to here, so this her 3rd, Jane.
Actually, Dan, she was in the upslope of the face of the bunker with a very, very bad lie. She had attempted to go for the green. It could have gone anywhere and more than likely left. So opted to lay it up to this point, just 75 yards. To a tricky hole location, because right now it's in the shade of this big tree and it's very difficult to judge the distance. On a little bit of a downslope, just a lob wedge.
Gall, it appears, is going to sew up that solo third. Back to 17. And Roger, what about this one?
They'll putt across a little bit of a mound, but it'll influence it to the left. But overall, the speed is pretty level, I think. So just a little breaker from right to left and roll it up there close.
Game, set, match with that sort of stat there. 26 one putts. Yeah, she's averaged 3.6 birdies per round all year. This week, she's averaged 5. You don't come to a Women's Open and do that very often.
So it looks like it'll be a par for Na Yeon-Choi to stay at 8 under. One of her role models is Lorena Ochoa. Of course, Sairi Pak and what she has meant to her has been documented. But the reason that Ochoa is one of her role models is that she looked at what Lorena has done off the course with all of her charitable activities. And last December, Na Yeon-Choi created and paid for a media classroom for an institution in Korea for people with disabilities. That is a young 24-year-old with a bigger picture and outlook than just between the ropes in her golf game. Nice roll in there, saved by Yang. She also made a contribution to the LPGA USGA Girls Golf Program, again indicating it was important for her to support the tour here in America, where it's made all of her dreams come true in this game.
It's not just her, it's a lot of the Korean players. IK Kim has just the biggest heart, and Amy Yang, only her first win as a professional, gave her whole check to charity, the Chinese earthquake fund, when that disaster happened.
So it'll be a 5-shot lead heading to the last. You can see she's grabbing air. She knows that it's close. Well, our NBC golf crew keeps it here in the Midwest next week. U.S. Senior Open, the next USGA Championship on our checklist. Tom Lehman having a good year among the stars that are going to be at Indianwood Golf and Country Club in Michigan for the U.S. Senior Open, Saturday, 3 Eastern Time on NBC.
And such a cool golf course.
Yeah, you were there, and we talked about it yesterday. You saw Helen Alfredson shoot a 63 there.
I did. I played 2 Women's Opens there. It's a pretty special place.
Vicky Hurst and Sandra Gall here with a couple of par putts. Hurst outside of Gall's upcoming attempt.
Oh, she had about a 30-footer, Dan, and left it just underneath the hole at this point. Good learning experience for Vicky Hurst this week, Annika.
Absolutely. She is starting to impress me more and more.
Oh, right in the heel, quick pull.
So in the third to last group, Vicky Hurst, things not going her way good all the day either. But again, a lot of very good players shooting high scores, especially yesterday. Now Sandra Gall to get in at +1 and sew up solo third.
Well, that's not a good visual image to have right in front of you when you're attempting to save par. I tell you what, I've been impressed with her since kind of the middle part of the back nine. She's really gathered herself, kind of got back into her normal routine, and hit some good quality shots.
Here's a player that will get some European points for the European team on Solheim Cup.
That'll go on. They're good in the European side of things, right? Solheim Cup.
I'm keeping my own standing here.
Coming up next year at Colorado Golf Club, but Gall with a good championship, 74 final round, good enough for solo third.
I like that, Megan.
Second to last
I was
group.
thinking a little bit less than full.
Out behind. Kay.
Almost full.
And it's really a shame that
Probably
Mika
downwind.
had a double bogey on that last hole. She was hanging in there. She played well in this championship last year. Finished 5th. She was really trending well coming to this week. Had a 3rd at ShopRite. second place last week, and she finished, Dottie, tied for second at the LPGA Championship. So something about her game and her mental attitude handles tough courses well.
Oh, this has also been a nice stretch for the LPGA to play a bunch of events on good golf courses right in a row. They'll take a couple of weeks break and resume again.
Well, there's a quality shot. That's a little finish.
One of the better ones we've seen all day on this tough 18th hole.
And Lexi Thompson proved again this week, Dottie and Annika, that she's got a powerful game, but on a golf course where you can't get away with a lot of loose shots. I think that finally caught up to Lexi in the end.
Well, I would say age has a lot to do with that. I mean, power is one thing, but be able to control it. But this is another wonderful learning experience for her that she can take on to the next major.
It was that 3-hole stretch. She was 6 over in 12, 13, and 14.
That's the way to finish for a 17-year-old in her 6th Women's Open. Hard to believe.
And somehow that math doesn't add up normally, does it?
Yep. 3-1 since she turned 12.
Yeah, qualified at the age of 12, playing in her first U.S. Women's Open. Annika, you were still kind of deciding what you wanted to do sport-wise at that age, weren't you?
I started to play golf at the age of 12.
Now back at the last tee.
3-wood here, it looks like.
It's a smart play.
And it's going up the right-hand side. Needs a little kick to the left, and it'll get it.
With the way the back nine's gone for her, Roger, did you think there was any chance at
Well, that's true. What was I thinking?
Talked about the sacrifices that Na Yeon Choi's family has made. When Amy was 15, her family moved to Australia to help further her golf aspirations. She lived there for 3 years before making the move to Orlando back in February of 2008.
And she came to America with wonderful pedigree and credentials, coming off the European tour, had won 3 times, did not get through the qualifying school with exempt status, so she had to go back.
That's right.
He really appreciates the way she's improved, the opportunities she has. If we look at it, just a tagged tee shot there, she's going to have very little left into a par 4 that's playing 422 yards today.
Amy Yang solo second, but this is going to be a satisfying walk up 18 for Na Yeon Choi. Mika Miyazato for birdie to finish up her week here at Black Wolf Run.
And this will bring a smile to her face.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a strong finish.
Especially after the double at 17, so in at +3 for Mika Miyazato, and that moves her up into the tie for 7th with Paula Creamer, so a top 10 for Mika.
Yeah, another great major finish.
Now Lexi Thompson, a chance for 2 birdies here in the second to last group.
Well, that was a hard hit wedge.
Wedge.
Yes, how about that?
I think Amy Yang's going to have about the same in.
She had 144 yards and played a little downwind.
This would move Lexi into the tie for 14th, her best coming at Oakmont. A tie for 10th.
There you go.
The 17-year-old was just 1 shot out of the lead after the first round, and was hanging in there through 36 holes as well. And a 78 today. The learning curve continues for just a 17-year-old who's already won twice. Once on the European Tour and once on the LPGA Tour. So now down
170 front, pitch 5 on at least.
One
That's
more
plenty.
routine from
You like
Shane
this one?
Joel.
No, downwind. It's only got to land just on the front. It's fine. Lady in the red? All right. Let's see it right there.
Did you talk a lot with your caddy, Dottie, when you were playing?
I did, but I liked comparisons from other rounds. I have a really good memory for numbers, and I just wanted to know how that was playing compared to other holes so I could make the decision.
196 left, and the lady in red that they were talking about is on the right
Gotta
side
go.
of the green. And that's right where this is headed, the right center of the green.
Cannot say enough at how much Nyan Choi kept it together after the triple bogey at 10. It looked like it may dissolve down the back nine at that point.
And even further into the round, after she hit that big pull at the 12th, that 4 really turned the whole tide on the back nine. That could have been really big, and then to have the double bounce off the wall at 13.
Well, did I hear you guys say that Lexi Thompson had 144?
Quiet, please.
Can you beat it?
This is 122.
By a lot.
Yeah, this is what, like a 300-yard tee shot, right? 422 today, the hole is.
She hasn't given up yet. She's keep on trying.
Tell you what, she's turned into quite a Women's Open player. It's going to be 3 top 10s in a row in this championship for Amy Yang.
Just right of the hole.
Quality golf shots over the last couple of days that we've seen from her. She made a big move yesterday.
We talked about how Na Yun Choi's parents now keep their distance, but they're watching back in South Korea, where it's a little after 6:30 in the morning, so they were up in the wee hours watching their daughter try to hold on to this 6-shot lead. And with a lead now 5, you know they are smiling, especially her father. We mentioned how Young Ho got her into the game, took her to the driving range. They come from humble beginnings in South Korea, and her dad at the gas station as Seiri Park is waiting for the celebration. Her dad owned a gas station in the countryside in South Korea, and after his daughter got hooked on the game as a young 9-year-old, he would take her to the gas station where she would practice lob wedges over a 1-meter tall heater at the gas station. He would have a baseball glove and catch the balls just so he could continue to work on his daughter's game while he was at work. And right now she is moments away from grabbing the biggest trophy they hand out in this sport.
I hope she was enjoying that lovely walk with that amazing crowd just cheering her on.
Yeah, we mentioned how he used to sleep in the car. Na Yun Choi would, you know, get in the room, throw a pillow out the window for Dad, who would sleep in the car from stop to stop while she chased a golfing dream.
Well, it's amazing when people will find a way to let their kids have opportunities. And I think it makes them tougher down the stretch when they know that their families have really sacrificed.
She's got an older brother as well, back in South Korea, who I'm sure is watching. And she credits him with some of her toughness. They used to wrestle around as kids, she used to say. We saw a lot of that toughness today. You know, and to watch Seiri Park as a 9-year-old on television, and to have her poised for a celebration here 14 years later, has got to make it extra special.
Much the same for So Yeon Yu last year. Seiri waited, as so many did. Her fellow countrywoman, they're very, very competitive within their own little core, but very supportive of each other at the same time.
No harm, no foul, huh?
No, she's got some shots to play with, Raj. Well, Roger, you've been out with her all day. What are your final impressions of Na Yun Choi and what you have seen firsthand and the way she's handled it?
Well, really, the way her demeanor didn't change. I mean, she was obviously getting a little rattled on 10 when she made triple bogey. But then what happened at 12 and 13, I mean, she weathered that storm unbelievably. And, you know, she just never seemed to lose her cool. I think she had a lot of grace under a lot of pressure when things were unraveling. That's what I'll take from it.
And how about Amy Yang, the only player in the last 7 groups who's under par today?
We started out the day with 5 players under par. We're down to 2.
This girl's a solid player here. She's going to be around a while.
Speaking of Sairi Pak, you mentioned it yesterday, Dottie. She's got the same physical stature of Sairi and is often mistaken for her. But a Kinsey woman, so a good week for Amy Yang, who's got another top 10 finish, this time solo second in the U.S. Women's Open with a final round 71. And that clears the stage for one. Still go through the routine. And with this win, Na Yeon Choi is going to ascend to the #2 ranking in the world. She's attained that earlier in her career. Came into this championship in the 5th spot. As Yanni Sen will continue to rule at the top. So the young girl who watched from South Korea, Sairi Pak, win it 14 years ago. It's going to take another trophy back tomorrow to South Korea. As this championship has gone full circle here at Black Wolf Run. From Sairi Pak in '98 to Na Yeon Choi in 2012. To everyone, but a little bit more deference there to Sairi Pak. A detective a bow in there.
Absolutely. Nice to see all her friends stay around and celebrate with her.
67, U.S. Women's Open champion. Began the day with a 6-shot lead. It got close, pared down to 2 at the 10th. Got some great help from Shane Joel when she needed it most. Guided her through some tough situations, and in the end, it's Na Yeon Choi who becomes another South Korean to win the U.S. Women's Open title by 4 over Amy Yang, also from South Korea, the only 2 under par. It's a nice shower. Led by Sairi Pak. We mentioned the nod that she gave. Yeah, there you go. One that started it all 14 years ago. Little girl dreamt big, and she comes through today. Let's send it to our studio in New York. Official ceremony to take place in just a few moments down that hill below that beautiful clubhouse. In the meantime, just a little taste of how Amy Yang and Na Yeon Choi battled throughout the day. Again, Yang was 6 back to start the day. They both got off to bogey starts, but Yang started making some noise after that bogey, her second birdie of the front 9 there. Got her to 3 under. She still trailed by 5 when Na Yeon Choi hit this tee shot at the 10th.
It's the tee shot that took a while to figure out where, if in fact it at all crossed the hazard, had to go back to the tee.
And this ended up being a double bogey attempt for Choi, and in the end a triple bogey. Yang parred it, so the lead went from 5 to 2. And then the second at 11 for Na Yeon Choi.
Beautiful shot here from the left side of the fairway.
And it was a great bounce back because She would birdie it, get it back to 6 under, and the lead was up to 3. And then the third at the 12th. Dottie, this could have been disaster again.
Well, they actually contemplated taking it over Amble Live. She decided to go with what she had and stay completely committed to the shot.
So, Annika, you might as well save it, right?
You might as well. This was a key putt.
A little bit of movement to the left. Comes back ever so slightly to the right. Terrific read by Gary Koch from the tower, dead center.
And another huge moment for Choi, who kept the momentum 6 under. And then for birdie at 15.
After a bit of a pause at 13, where she put it off the rocks twice. A great 3 there at the short 15.
It was a good one because Yang birdied the same hole to stay within 4. And then at the par 5 16th, back-to-back birdies, and this is when it was becoming apparent that Na Yeon Choi was going to win it. She parred the 17th, ended up with a bogey at 18, but the cushion was just too big for anyone to make any kind of comeback, especially at that stage. Dottie, what will you take away from this championship when you look at Na Yeon Choi's 4-shot win?
Well, I think I'll take most away from her resolve after the triple at 10, the way she bounced back at 11, really stuck in there with a hard-fought par at the 12th, and just the way she stayed committed to what she knew she had to do. She was trying to work on speed. She was trying to work on tempo, not trying to reinvent anything that had gotten her into this position. She did a great job of doing that.
And a great story of looking at someone that you've looked up to for so long. In her case, Se-Ri Pak. In your case, Lisa Lott Neumann. What does it mean for Na Yeon Choi, Annika, to have Se-Ri Pak here in the audience, watch her win it 14 years later?
Well, it's going to be very, very special. I mean, this championship means a lot to the Koreans. I know that after Se-Ri's, win here in '98, and for her to be there in the end and celebrate with her, and you saw that little bow she did, she respects her a lot, and for her to be there, it's going to mean a ton.
And there's going to be a huge crowd at the airport tomorrow, whatever time that is, when Na Yeon Choi arrives with the big trophy, indicating that she's the 67th U.S. Women's Open champion. Next week again, keeping it right here in the Midwest, U.S. Senior Open we have Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. Fred Couples, Tom Watson, scheduled to be a part of the action at Indianwood Golf and Country Club. Na Yeon Choi about ready to be crowned the champion. Again, this will make it 4 from South Korea in the last 5 years and the 5th in the last 8 years.
And I'm assuming she signed her scorecard correctly, which she did not do at the LPGA Championship, kind of blanked out. It was disqualified after 3 rounds, so good on her.
I hope, everything was done the right way. She was escorted out by the president of the USGA, Glenn Nager. Also see Herb Kohler out there, the owner of this resort, and now Mr. Nager.
Martha Lang, the chairman of the Women's Committee, beside the champion.
Good afternoon. My name is Glenn Nager. I'm the president of the United States Golf Association. We hope you've enjoyed the excitement and the experience of the 2012 U.S. Women's Open. The USGA has promoted women's golf since 1895, when we first hosted the U.S. Women's Amateur Championship, 1 year after the association was founded. Our commitment to women's golf remains strong, with the USGA conducting 6 national championships exclusively for women each year, this year attracting a record number of entries from America and around the globe. As golf's toughest test, the U.S. Women's Open requires skilled shot making, mental toughness, and physical endurance. Anyone who watched Na Yeon Choi this week understands how she displayed each and every one of these attributes as she fulfilled a dream that was sparked by Se-Ri Pak's triumph here in 1998. You join me at the podium. Na Yeon, I have, for your victory this week, we have 2 distinguished awards for you. First is the Champions Medal. And second On behalf of the USGA staff, executive committee, our volunteers, our members, and our partners, it's my pleasure to award you the U.S. Women's Open Trophy, the time-honored emblem of our nation's national championship.
No, congratulations. The 10th hole, a near disaster, triple bogey 8, your lead drops to 2. How were you able to regroup after that?
Well, I had triple bogey on 10, but after that I tried to forget it from that, and then I had a really good bounce back on 11, and then I had a really good saver par on 12, so I got some momentum from 11 and 12, and then that's why I can keep it going until 18th hole.
Well, I know many years ago, 14 years ago, you watched Se Ri Pak win this championship right here. You were 9 years old. Did you ever dream that you would come here and win the same championship?
Actually, before Se Ri Pak, she won the 1998. My dream was like just being a professional golfer. But after I watched her, I mean, she really inspired me, and then, being a PGA player. So I really appreciate too what Se Ri did before, and I think she is a legend in Korea.
Well, I think you are too now. Congratulations. We'll go back to Dan Hicks.
Thank you, Gary. Well done by Na Yun Choi as the 67th U.S. Women's Open champion. 7 under. Good enough for a 4-shot win. And a reminder, we're at Indianwood next week. United States Senior Open coverage starts next Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, your local news. Tonight on NBC starting at 7, 6 Central, it's an all-new Dateline followed by back-to-back episodes of America's Got Talent. For our entire crew here, everyone in the truck, and everyone who walked around Black Wolf Run all week long. For Dottie Pepper, Gary Koch, Roger Maltby, Jane Crafter, Kay Cockrell, Annika Sorenstam, and our entire crew, Dan Hicks saying so long from Black Wolf Run in Kohler, Wisconsin, where the dream indeed comes true for Na Yun Choi. 14 years after Se Ri Pak wins it, she's the champion in 2012.
You know what? I'm going to Korea tomorrow, so I think all my family will be in the airport. So, when I think about that, I'm really excited and very happy. And I can't, I really miss my mom and dad. I feel really sorry about that. They are not here. But I really appreciate what they did for me. I love my parents, and I love all my fans. Thank you very much.
We have 2 other important medals to present now. The support and advancement of amateur golf has been a central part of the USGA's mission for well over 100 years. And amateur golfers have always been a significant part of the U.S. Women's Open, a truly democratic championship that is open to all. It's my pleasure to award this year's low amateur medal to Lydia Ko of New Zealand. And I'm also honored to present the U.S. Women's Open silver medal to this year's second place finisher, Amy Yang. It takes incredible dedication and coordination of USGA staff the staff here at Kohler, and over 2,000 volunteers to stage the U.S. Women's Open each and every year. Representing these passionate men and women who work for the good of the game this week were Ben Kimball, our staffer in charge of the championship, and Martha Lang, the chair of the USGA's Women Committee. Thank you both. As it did the last time the U.S. Women's Open was hosted here, the Kohler organization has presented a wonderful championship, and I'd like to thank their staff for their hospitality and for their collaboration. Thank you for your efforts. The players, the fans, the volunteers, and the USGA staff will be leaving here this week with wonderful memories for the week and for the championship. Although there are many of you who contributed to this, I'd like to recognize just a few club representatives for their specific contributions to the championship. First is the General Chairman, Jim Richardson. Second is the Championship Director, Barry Deach. And third, for this wonderful golf course, the Director of Golf Maintenance, Michael Lee. Thanks to you and your teams for your outstanding effort. Of course, it all takes leadership. And for that, the USGA has a very special thanks to Herb Kohler for his leadership, for his vision, and his partnership in hosting a truly international event of this magnitude. Without his commitment, this experience would not have been possible. In gratitude to your partnership and dedication to the championship golf, Herb, I'd like to present you with the Players Scroll as a keepsake of the USGA's appreciation.
Oh, my word. What can you say? Is Sari Park in the crowd? Where's Sari? Sari, come on, you haven't gone. Natalie, can you find her? I'm so sorry. I wanted the two champions side by side. But Sari was the one who started the dream. And today we've just taken one step in the fulfillment of that dream 14 years later. The person she inspired. We've now had 2 U.S. Women's Open championships, both of them remarkable. Only 2 players in the course of those 2 championships have broken par. My word. Part of that is Mr. Dye. Pete, could you raise your hand, please? Part of that is because the USGA truly knows how to stage a national championship. And all of us at Kohler, all of us who witnessed this championship this week, really are appreciative of what the USGA stands for, establishing the rules of golf in the United States and giving us such great championships. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Everyone assembled here has helped to make this week a great success, and to all of us from the USGA, we want to thank you for your support. We do hope we'll see you next year at Sabonic Golf Club in Southampton, New York for the 68th U.S. Women's Opens Championship. Good night.